Good morning. I'm higher vibrations, and so are you. And welcome to this next phase of our development, right? Some pretty awesome energies coming in right now. And a lot of people are reporting an increased ascension symptom experience, just like everybody else. We're all having a lot of electric like sensation. That's kind of a new thing. I'm noticing it more as I would call it neurological. It feels like a nerve thing. It's almost like someone has poked you with it's like a mosquito bite or something that has several points that is activated at the same time. So that one's just the new one that I wanted to say before I forgot. I see a lot of you are already here. Welcome. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you for liking it so far too. Um, Genevieve is here. Mother Nature says hello to all of you beautiful souls. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to you. It's kind of fun that we're in this energy because this Mother's Day energy includes the divine masculine at the same time. And that makes sense to me. It didn't at first, though. That's the balancing of it. There's a lot of stuff that hasn't been acknowledged as masculine that has been assigned solely to the divine feminine energy. And so it's kind of fun to see that. So happy Mother's Day to everyone, male or female alike. Is anyone having pain in the knees and vertigo? Knee pain is like one of the most common reported ascension symptoms right now. Knee, shoulder, and elbow. The other, I would say, right above that, in the commonality of being reported is the sacral chakra area. So like the tummy, the lower belly area. That's having a lot of stuff, and it's been for a while. Though, second in place would be definitely the knees. Um, I'm finding it to be a very useful activation. It's the same time that we notice this knee stuff happening, we also start to kind of stand in our power of our saying no and meaning it, staying in our no. Um, Sometimes that's kind of hard for us to do. Typically, most of us are really good at like being the servant and helping and stuff, and not always are we a very loud self advocate. So we're learning to be in a lot of ways right now. And I think that has a lot to bending at the knee and giving up your power, and so that to me, in my experience, that's the symbol for that. So as well as vertigo, the vertigo and the dizziness, it's a combination of three. I always put them all together: dizziness, vertigo, and lightheadedness all go together. And in the end, they kind of make the baby of disorientation, and it's just like this weird, not sure where your feet go, like not even sure, like feeling like gravity shifted is a better way of saying it, perhaps. Um, this happens in phases and almost always is accompanied by ear ringing. So, um, the solar flare activity is something I haven't actually investigated in today, though I've seen a lot of like headlines of like YouTube videos and stuff about this incoming solar flares that we're having. It's not really something about whether or not there's a solar flare when I look these days. It's just the severity, how strong is the solar flare that we're getting. So that does always often have a lot to do with it. Janice says the same thing. Vertigo for sure yesterday and today. Um, Donna, welcome. Good to see you. Sending love and Mother's Day blessings to all the moms here today. Hugs. Oh, thank you, Donna. Patriot Hero, hello. Are people meeting their soulmates at this time? And how do we know if we have found them? I like that you use the word soulmate instead of twin flame. There is very much of a difference. Just um, this is something that's kind of a common topic right now. A lot of individuals are feeling kind of called to their soulmate, but they're seeming to not feel like they can access them just yet. This is something that's always was kind of meant to have happen, where before relationships, this is kind of a fun story, and I'm going to try to make it as short as I can. Before, many of us were two halves of a whole, your better half, and we would come together in a need. There was a need for the other. The relationship idea, or what it was as a relationship, was more of like, I need you because you can do this, and it became an awesome thing for everybody, and also things like getting messages from this other person so frequently was at that time was like, oh, that's so endearing, and it's moving into this energy now where it's like Okay. So all that was what was happening before. And now what's occurring is that instead of being two unhealed halves meeting and making a whole, what's actually occurring is we are becoming whole. We're healing ourselves. And as we heal ourselves, we then, and our other half, right? That would have been the other half, and our soulmate is healing self or having already done so. And then we'll meet as complete wholes, and it would be more like a binary star system that rather than the a singular star. So that's been happening. It started many years ago, though. When I started to get these messages was at the very beginning of 2020, and just this is what's happening, and they were calling them 3D or 5D spouses at that time as a way for me to understand what was going on, and so this is just something that's occurring, and so I don't really know what it looks like in the end. However, a lot of people are starting to meet each other, and so that's the end of the story. So the answer is um, yes, they are. And how do you know if you found them? I would rely solely on my intuition, my discernment. Like, what's it feel like? Does that feel correct? You can ask yourself a question, and the answer that comes back, it's a lot of times the answer we get back isn't exactly what we want. So we might want to try to edit that answer. The answer you get back, the immediate first thing that you hear, that's usually the answer, the correct answer. So um, ask. That's my suggestion. Vanya, welcome. Hi, all. We've had a challenging week yet again. I know, right? Lots of ascension symptoms over here: rashes and skin issues, vertigo, physical exhaustion, throat issues, and coughing, aches and pains in limbs. And to add to your list, just if you don't mind, before I forget, these weird, like almost like blemish like things in my hair. Only on this side, I was convinced I had ticks. Like we have deer ticks around here. And it's these weird blemishes. They're really uncomfortable too. And it goes along with the skin stuff. There's a lot of um, expulsion of these toxins. And remember, toxin is something that is not in harmony with your body. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a poison. Um, so when we take in these toxins throughout our life, just a regular life, that's just what happens. And so our body's now purging them out. And as it's purging it out, a lot of people are noticing this skin stuff. Not just rashes, but also like acne, blemish like symptoms. I was having these patchy areas on my legs for a while, and it moved to like upper arm area, and it was almost eczema like in its form, but it didn't last very long. So that's something that a lot of people are having and have had, um, as well as the extreme exhaustion. Holy cow. The past 2 days, the past 24 hours, more like, I've actually been tired enough to sleep, which has been something new. Usually I'm just incredibly tired and I stay the night owl thing. And, last night I went to bed around midnight, which is pretty amazing for me. Um, so yeah, the exhaustion and stuff is just really kicking in. One thing so you mentioned the coughing. This upper lung area, almost everyone's having something going on here. It like no matter your age, even the little ones, it's just this little almost like a throat irritation kind of thing, or you're just noticing that there's a little bit of a cough. It's not really a long lasting thing, or it's not a very big deal. It's just a small, slight thing that we're noticing. Aches and pains in the limbs. I've had that too, where it's just kind of achy, and it feels like growing pains. Remember when you were little, you could feel your bones growing at night and it would hurt. That's kind of the sensation that I've been getting. So something like that. A lot of people are having this happening. So just knowing that you're not alone sometimes is just helpful enough in itself. Spiritual Warrior says, hello, beautiful people. Welcome, Spiritual Warrior. Tommy says, greetings all. Hello. Patriot Hero. Oh, yeah. Hello and happy Mother's Day. Thank you, Patriot Hero. Janice says, happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers. Thank you. And to you. Tommy says, bloated for a few days, taking gas X to relieve it, and also pains here and there. And sinuses are bad. Been a rough few days. So this extra air Stephanie's here. Hey, Stephanie. Good to see you, sister. Um, this extra air, a lot of people are having this. A lot of people referring to this as Buddha belly, because we'll have like this extended belly area. Our torso is just like ballooned up, and a lot of gas. um I can't remember what they were calling it the other day. It was so funny. It was like butt butt burps or something like that. But yeah, so lots of burping and flatulence, and a lot of just or air moving out. So there's actually a reason or rhyme to this. When we remove a density, when we let a density move out of us, we have density. It's not like a really bad thing. And it's self care. It's basic hygiene to clear yourself by bringing in more light, and this density can then be removed and move on. When that happens, a density. Let's just use this as an example. If a density is this size, um, and it is released from you, then you will have this much air. Sometimes it's water, but usually it's air. This is like bloating sensation, this stuff happening. And then you've noticed you're burping a lot. You have a lot more flatulence. Um, the moving out of this, as this is moving out, my guidance here is to send light to it. Send light to the area, because it just needs to be filled up with something. A void will be taken, will be occupied at some point. And so to send light to it, it's what it's meant for. It wants more light in this area, and you're also you're filling the space up. So you're preventing for any other energy from kind of like, hey, there's an opening, and then kind of sitting down there. So, and then, yeah, just to let yourself burp it out, and it's really not that comfortable. It can get pretty extreme feeling, just allowing yourself to just go about your day. A lot of just basic small movements, dancing and walking often helps to just kind of let that move out, and I've moved past feeling embarrassed when I fart in public anymore. I just, whatever, everybody does it. So I don't know why we keep it. I understand. Anyway, so for that, I just let myself fart. I'm that person at the store, guys. Happy Mother's Day, says in the sky, to all of the mama bears out there. Thank you, sweetie. Um, Patriot Hero, my son said the sweetest thing to me today. He said, "Happy Mother's Day. Thank you for stepping up when my mother chose not to." Oh, my heart, that is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Patriot Hero. I was saying this earlier to another group that, you know, male or female alike, we are. I guess I was saying it to you guys. Male or female or alike, we are all the mother, and to seeing that right now during this superimposed, like, additional anchoring of the divine masculine during this celebrated female time, like not very long ago was also like International Women's Day or something like that. And it's showing that we're finding balance, in all things, and that the male as well as the female all have the same kinds of traits that they can bring to the table. For all of us, no matter what your gender, you have both. And the ultimate goal is for all of us to find some type of balance in that. So that's really cool. I'm really happy that you shared that. Thank you. Esther says, hello, sweet people. Stephanie, good day. Good day to you. Donna says, hello from Vancouver Island. Hey, been watching for a while. Very helpful info. Thank you. Thank you for saying that, Donna. I'm also in Washington. I'm very inland. Vicky says, hi from London. So delighted I found you live. Usually miss them. I'm so glad you're able to join us. Yeah, we're meeting today at an hour later than normal. If this is something, by the way, that everyone prefers this time rather than the time we normally meet, let me know. We could easily accommodate that. Vicky also says, so much wonderful clarity from your videos. Makes me feel much less alone. Thank you. Oh, well, thank you very much, Vicky. I really appreciate that very much. Julie says, over the top feelings all around, especially picking up my next door neighbor's dysfunctions. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Thank you, Julie, for saying this. Right now, while this energy swell, I guess is the best way to say it, this energy swell that's happening, its intention is to make all things that can now be healed to kind of float to the surface. That's really what's happening. And so a lot of us who aren't prepared for healing or haven't done any healing previously leading into this moment, um, they find themselves kind of in a panic and a freak out, like, what's going on? Oh my goodness. And um, often will be lashing out and just kind of in a altogether panic. In some way, I'm sure it feels very much like having post-traumatic stress disorder and having these flashbacks, kind of thing happening. And so their experience is being amplified and they're kind of sending it out almost like a distress call. And so it's really easy to pick up other people right now. If you are picking up other individuals, the best thing you could do for yourself, if you want to not be in that energy, I mean, who does want to be? So, just in yourself, bringing in that light of God, whether you're watching it channeling through one of your chakras into yourself, or noticing your heart center, that little teeny beautiful bright light that is the original of all things of you, and watch that light expand. Like what I do is that when I breathe in through my nose, I watch the white light of it. And then as I exhale, I'm able to blow this balloon of light up more and more. While it's doing that, it's pushing all of the things that aren't cool with me out. So the edges of the balloon push out these things. And I'll grow this balloon, this orb of white light, um, pretty big. I'll usually make it at least the size of my room. Um, Most people at rest, their energy field is about 50 feet in diameter to 100 feet in diameter, depending on the person. So just keeping that in mind. When we are able to extend our energy that far, then nothing can really affect us that much. It really helps. And that light is love. So when we're doing that, we're helping the other people. We're sending some beautiful, loving energy to them and helping them to kind of find a little bit more of an equilibrium so then they can heal through it better. Excuse me a second. Speaking of that upper, it's just right here. It's very strange. It's just the top of the lungs. So I hope that helps you. There's a lot of that going on right now. There's a lot more panic and a lot of misguided emotion or emotion that doesn't belong to us that's coming through. So that's useful for all of those types of interactions. Um, and see, uh, Karina says, my skin is so dry. I have like allergy acne and like sunburn on my chest, higher heart chakra area, and hands. Very interesting. Yeah, I've been noticing the dryness too. And allergy acne. That's interesting. I'll have to look into that a little bit. I've had these weird things. I think I'm having the same thing. They're almost like weird bumps. Like I think I have an area right now, just right here, just this weird little bump area. Um, though what you're saying, I'm actually getting too. Like I have these really strange, I don't know if you guys can see that, but just these weird bump things right now, right here in this area. And it's something that feels correct. It feels like it needs to clear out. If although I feel like this is the beginning of something, so it might be a little bit longer lasting. Hands, I had a crazy hand activation. I don't remember if I've gone live since I had it happen. Um, it was very bizarre. All of a sudden, like overnight, I woke up and my hand all the way through the fingers, through these fingers, all the way down and through right here, just really like it was like nerve pain is the best way to describe it. It was very uncomfortable. And I noticed that my fingers, these fingers wanted to curl. They wanted to curl in. And I just that what was hurting the most, it felt like energy was trying to move out through the tips of my fingers, but then was coming back through back around to go into my palm again, which was what was causing this problem. So, I found it was really useful to use a brace, just like those little wrist brace that they use for like carpal tunnel kind of things I found at the grocery store. You can use an ace bandage. I did that for at first, just to kind of stabilize it while the energy is moving through. If this happens to you, it was a healing hands activation, and I knew it was what it was when it was happening, though it still hurt. Whatever it is, even if it's really cool, it still can be uncomfortable. There could be some discomfort there. And so, what was fascinating, however, was that I noticed that my fingernails were curling completely over. And as soon as I chose to go ahead and cut my fingernails down, specifically those two, all of a sudden I felt better. So that's really fascinating. Since then, now I can feel the heat very much farther apart, where before it would be more, you could, when you can feel the heat of your hands, allow yourself to grow that heat and continue to feel yourself as an exercise to get your healing hands online. A lot of people are getting healing hands right now. So it's really cool. Those who aren't having it on the hands are typically having it on their feet, which is also a healing thing. As you walk the earth, you're healing. Stephanie, please remember to tap the thumbs up if you're enjoying the live. Thanks. Thank you very much, Stephanie. Hey, Carmen, good to see you. He says, hi, Pamela. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you. And to you as well. Esther says, all my joints hurting today. Joint stuff. And I know I've talked about this before, but just going to bring it up again. All of our joints are all areas that, just like the corners of your house, when you're saging, you're smudging, you're using sound bowls to clear the energy, you'll notice that it all collects in the corners, just like in our body. And because of that, when we're pulling our energy away, when we're raising our frequency above the frequency of this, and remember, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just not resonating at the same frequency that we now are. And so as we raise up our frequency, the areas that it kind of catches for a second, it doesn't get stuck, it catches for a second, are the joint areas. So you'll notice a lot of elbow, shoulder, all down the spine and neck, hips, knees, ankles, wrists. These areas are however more noticeable than anything else, usually are the shoulders and like the lower back or tailbone area, as well as the hips, sometimes the knees as well, lately especially. So just knowing what you're doing often helps. Once we realize what we're doing, we can then place an intention. And kind of a lot of the stuff, hey, it's 1, 2, 3. A lot of the stuff that we've been doing requires consent. We've kind of upgraded we've removed consent from places that we gave automatically before. It was assumed consent. And now consent is the same as everyone else on this whole spiritual plane. And so it's expected that you give consent. If you don't know what it is, then often they'll be coming in to have conversations with you. So it's kind of cool. I think I missed this comment. In the sky says, energies are too much. For me, it's the message of why I'm here, and what I have to face is the biggest concern, and even somewhat panicked by thoughts and constant synchronicity messages screaming at me. The energy is a lot, and it's really difficult to kind of like digest. And I agree with you. The messages of why a person's here is it's a lot easier than I've thought previously. Is that when I'm in a place of play, whatever that play is, that's the goal. That's my mission. As I stay in a place of joy, of a play, of whatever it is for play, then I'm changing the frequency and I'm doing automatically what I'm meant to do. A lot of us have been taught that the play is something that we need to save until we do something that sucks. Like it's a reward for doing the good deed or whatever. When in fact, being in your joy is your good deed. Sometimes it's hard to get there when we're kind of really stuck, when we're in some kind of a density feeling. And so it's not always easy to do it. However, it's definitely something that I've been guided for a long time. The more that we are in our place of play, the more that we're doing our mission. Some people's play, like this is kind of, I know that a lot of people get a lot out of what I'm doing right now. This is like play for me. Some people, this wouldn't be play for them, and so remembering that too, that those who are meant to do something, it's easy, and when I'm trying to do someone else's mission, it's not easy because it's not my mission. I don't know if that helps you at all. Mother Nature says, yes, I agree with the exhaustion, Pamela. At times I feel drugged. I'm so tired, right? Holy cow. Just like intense tiredness. Oh my goodness. And that's just your body calling you to go to sleep for rest. Also, most of us, we are still operating enough in our ego place that we kind of need to be in a place of rest or at least meditation in order to get downloads. And so often we are being called in certain moments, like all of a sudden, just profound tire comes out of the sky and hits you upside the head kind of thing. When we notice that, if you can, to go to a place of meditation even for 5 minutes, that's usually a time they want to give you something. Most of my most profound messages and understandings have come just that way, where I've been actively engaged in something and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I am really tired. I think I'm going to go sit down for a minute. And then closing my eyes, even just sitting someplace, and it's like all of this information. So keeping that in mind, um, let her rip. I love that. Thanks, Trey B. Yeah, that's the. It's so funny. I'm just, I'm gonna fart. Everybody does. Spiritual warrior. I'm concentrating on self healing with energy healing. Cool. And changed my diet and using oils to speed healing. I'm also taking natural herbal antibiotics. Nice. Oh, this is really cool. Spiritual warrior has more to say. I got that hand upgrade activation 2 weeks ago. Oh, really? I'm using it several times a day to heal the wound. 10 stitches and 10 days off from work. That feels like a sign for sure. Oh, yeah, that's amazing. That's an incredible synchronicity. The healing is really coming online right now. I am really excited about, the thing is, and this sounds contrary to what most people believe, there's this strange idea that there's like unique specialness about us. Like, only some people can heal, only some people can channel, and we all are healing channelers. We all are, one way or another too. There's some of us that have specialities, like we're specialties, we're best in like a niche area. However, we all are doing it, and it's funny because when I channeled about this, I was talking to some Pleiadians and they were saying it was almost a joke that their kids learn how to do that as soon as they learn how to sit up. Like their healing, their self-healing starts when they're able to sit up. They can't even walk yet and they're healing themselves, and so it's kind of funny. Um, their point being is that all of us have it. It's simply learning to do it, learning how to connect with that and to allow yourself to believe. I think that's probably the biggest hurdle that most of us have is trusting yourself and allowing yourself to believe in the process you're participating in. Most of us will have that part in the back of the head saying, this feels crazy. This feels weird. Like nothing's really going to happen and that kind of stuff. And that is uh, self-deprecating. That takes away of the power when we talk like that. Like even if we really do think we're just making it up, make it up as much as you can. Allow yourself to be in that space. It's really funny. It really works. And so I don't know if that will help anybody. Though as we do that, as we invest and we begin to learn to trust and to believe self, the result is profound. Like the impact that we have on the very air before us, the it's like as if the air, what it looks like microcrystals. They're little, like it looks kind of like glitter in the air. Sometimes people see that when the sun's out. You could also see it under a full moon light. Um, when you're not really aware what you're looking for yet, you'll see it in that way. It's kind of like micro hairs all over all of everything. And so, and it catches any breeze. Remember that these are all antenna. They're like mushrooms of the forest, only for the cosmos. And when we affect what's before us, it ripples and it ripples quickly. Like what's happening here and what I'm having energetically happen can then go and affect you, Sarah, from Ireland. Welcome. Good to see you. Right now, because choosing. I'm choosing to participate in that translation, that movement of that energy. So it's kind of cool. Um, let's see. Stephanie says, "You and I just coughed at the same time." Oh, that's really funny. That's really cool. And hello, Sarah. Welcome. Vanya says, "How are you guys coping with family members? They irritate me so much. Just pushing all of my triggers. It's bizarre. It's like I really want them out. They make me so mad. Is it me or them? I want out." Okay, this is a typical experience right now. We talked about it a little bit earlier that those who aren't fully invested in the awakening experience, there's a difference that occurred recently. Those who are here and engaging and interacting with us truly are part of like this awakening experience. And then there are those now who still defiantly hold on to the dream state, like not wanting to wake up, have the spiritual awakening that we're all in. And they're getting triggered really, really bad. And they're the ones that are like lashing out on stuff. And so if you have a home situations like Vanya had just mentioned, it's very common to have them lashing out, and then they'll get under your skin, they'll irritate you. You'll notice the frequency isn't the same. This group of individuals are defiantly staying asleep while you're working to wake up, and it's just a conflict that's presented. The solution to that is to send love. Literally, that's the best thing that you could do. And that, just like I talked about earlier in this live, where you send that white bubble out. That white bubble, whatever it crosses through, will assist. It lifts up. I'll do it where I'll make the bubble as big as my apartment building. I'll make it as big as my block and as big as my town and my county, and just on and on until it's the size of the planet and beyond. And it's really fun. It's a fun game to me. It feels fun. I'm sending all this love in, and I'm really it changes the experience I'm in. I feel happier. I feel more uplifted, and it affects everybody around me. The neighbors who are full on not knowing what's going on will approach me the next day after I've done something that's really big, and they'll report how they slept so much better and they feel so great and they're so happy, and I don't know what happened, except I noticed that it happened and they'll say the time that I was doing it. It's really cool to see that people there's proof, there's validation that it's occurring. Um, so that's my suggestion. It will improve them as well as you. And honestly, most of the stuff that I do it for selfish reasons. I do it because I don't want to be in the energy of icky. And so I'm going to fix that energy that I have to be in. And as a happy side note, you're better too. So try that. I hope that resolves sooner than later for you, Vanya. That's not any fun at all. Sarah says the nail growth is crazy. Yeah, it's very strange. And hair's growing a lot faster, but specifically nails. Like it's almost impossible to keep the nails short right now. It's kind of amazing. And Sarah also says, I've had crazy hair and nail growth in 5 years compared to what it was for 10 years. Yeah. Yeah. I actually, was it last summer? I think it was last summer. I cut my hair all the way off. It was a morning ceremony that I participated in. And like, I mean, it's getting pretty long, for a year. That's pretty good. Excuse me. Spiritual warrior. Oh, spiritual warrior is talking to Vanya. Sarah says, Vanya, it will pass. I've had so much from 2019 to 2021. Yeah, there's a lot going on. A lot of people are supporting you, Vanya. I really hope that you can find a way to move that energy and be able to be in more harmony. Eric says, I have to commit to comment every video. I had the identical hand pain. Like you said, it felt like nerve pain. It was deep, almost in the bone. Yes. Thank you, Eric. Yes, it was so uncomfortable. And just like, I knew the whole time what was happening. Like, I was very aware. Healing hands, healing hands. I kept hearing this. Like, it was really cool. And even in the point of distress, I noticed that I was able to heal things more during that time. Even though it's really strange. Right here is the part that's cold. The rest of my hand is like so hot, but it's not. My hand doesn't feel hot. Like, I don't feel like I have to go cool my hand off until I touch something. It's really cool. Thank you for saying that, Eric. Vanya, yeah, hubby is the problem. Oh, yeah, that's a lot of people are noticing this relationship thing that's happening too. That we're moving into a higher frequency template of relationship, of how relationships work or are. And there's a lot of resistance, as well as most of us, I think, are just kind of like, I don't even know what you're supposed to do right now. Like, for example, I used to be somebody who thought it was cute when people would text you, every couple of hours and how you doing, sweetie? And honestly, now when people do stuff like that to me, it's like, didn't you already text me today? Like, what? What do you want? Like, why are you bothering me right now? Like, that's how I feel, and it's just, I'm requiring more distance and space than I ever did before. And so for people to do those things that are considered romantic and loving, it's not working for me, so that's really interesting. I'm not really sure what this new paradigm exactly going to look like, but it just feels like that it's becoming more and more independent in some way. It's weird. Trey B says, it's you and it's them. She's talking to Vanya. I'll let her talk to each other. Spiritual warrior, Mercury in retrograde in Taurus. Right. That's exactly, yeah, you're right. I forgot actually. Makes challenging relationships. He's also Taurus sun, so he's under extra pressure. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. The retrograde that's happening right now is actually a little bit more pronounced than I remember it feeling before. Also, kind of fascinating. Dawn is 7, light sensitivity, visuals, snow, purple visuals. Can third eye activation interfere with regular vision? I would say that it does always. I don't know of anyone who said that it's not happened. Um, so for me, the other thing is it's not only just third eye activation, which is an amazing thing. We're also raising our frequency up to the frequency of other things that are vibrating up here. And we were vibrating down here before. And then as we raise our frequency up to match, at least close to it, what we do, by the way, when we raise up, we go like this. We don't go straight up. And so as we slowly raise our vibration up, we'll see certain things. The visuals will fade in and out as we're reaching up to this point and kind of seeing what's happening, seeing what's existing at that frequency. The violet, seeing purple, that is one of my first activations for my third eye. And so I can very much resonate with what you're talking about. Um, the snow, this visual snow, at first I thought there was something in my eyes when that was happening, and that's actually what I was talking about earlier. A lot of people are calling it glitter in the air, glitter air, snow glitter or sun glitter. I guess is what someone was saying the other day. Because usually it's seen when there's light, when the sun is shining outside, or you have a very bright indoor light. People will be able to see those things a little bit better, a little easier. That is these crystals that are not just in the air, but they're in our body, they're in the things around us. And as we interact with them energetically, we move these, like they're like little mirrors. They're just so small, but they're crystals. And they move and they convey information by like reflection. I don't know how to fully explain it in a scientific way. So that's something that's been happening for a long time. So yeah, I would say that the back and forth between third eye and physical eye, a lot of times I can't decipher which is which. I can tell the difference when I realize that my camera cannot pick up even remotely close to what I'm seeing. Like I'll see a UFO and then I'll like suddenly be able to see a lot closer detail and make out a lot of characteristics. And then I'll go to take a photograph of it and it's just a speck. Like, there's no way that my physical eyes could have like binoculared that far on their own. So it's hard to tell, to be honest. So I don't know if that helps your question at all. Alex says, guys, do you have head pressure, like overactive crown chakra? Nothing helps. Yeah. So this, um, for me, I've been having it more of like offset, like temples. I'm noticing on these spots, as well as the temples here. And so these areas, a lot of us are having like a clearing. So yes, the solution to this for me has always been allowing ourselves to move any density down. In meditation, what I'll do is I'll bring in the light, and I've always been able to see this stuff. So I don't know how to teach that part, but allow yourself to visualize this deposits, whatever they are. We have these little pieces of stuff floating around in our head that just don't really belong there. A lot of them came off of our pineal gland and now they're just kind of like floating around. direct that stuff down into your intestinal area to lit for later evacuation, to poop it out later on. Um, I did it one time where I put it in my stomach. I guided it to my stomach, and then it came out. I was able to vomit it out, but I wouldn't suggest that. It's a very, very strong flavor that's not very great. So that helps. That helps a lot. But on top of everything else, it was all about being on the ground, going to the ground. So going outside, if you can lay on your back on the ground, a lot of people don't want to do that because they don't want to feel the creepy crawly kind of bug thing. Lay out like a towel or a yoga mat or something. Your body doesn't need to be on the ground. It's your feet, your wrists, elbows, and palms. Like that really helps. It sounds silly. This is called an ionization process. You're connecting, you're grounding with earth. We have all these positively charged we, I can't even remember the name of it right now. Um, Ions, there we go. Thank you. We don't want the positively charged ones. We want the negative ones. The positive charged ones go into the earth. They just absorb into the earth and they're replaced with the negatively charged ones, and they let up a lot of the pressure. It really, really helps. Most of what we're experiencing in this pain area has to do with the space right when where your head meets your neck, that little crooks. There's a lot of activation that everyone is having there right now. It's kind of a big deal for a lot of people. And so allowing yourself to do any kind of healing there. Massage also helps that spot, just to kind of let stuff come out. I noticed that after I started to follow that guidance and massage a little bit there, all of a sudden I started having like blemish, and like um, that kind of release of these toxins is just coming out. And so that pressure is just a natural thing. There's a lot of different things that I just said. These all helped. Um, I have to say, above all things, though, it was definitely letting myself move that density down into my intestinal area. And that made it better all the way. So there's a lot of things that you can do. As a general rule, going out into nature or just outside, it will really help with any of this stuff. The more that you can connect with Mother Nature, like in a nature like place, if you can get away from other people, even better. As far as that you can go. When we connect with Earth in that way, we're not only going through the ionization process, we're also absorbing the minerals and nutrients that we naturally were meant to absorb into our feet, which is why the pores of our feet are the biggest pores in our body. Absorbing these minerals and nutrients help find the put our body back into sync the way that it needs to be. So that really helps too. A lot of this is imbalance kind of stuff. So let me try to catch up. Trey says yes. Okay, so someone else is talking. And sinuses too. Yeah. The sinus thing and the popping with them, that's been kind of like strange having them pop. And this has happened. Hey, it's 144, 144,000. That number specifically all the time. I'm seeing it all the time right now. It's amazing. Totally forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, the sinuses. So as this stuff is popping and stuff, it feels like it's actually a different type of oxygen and intake that's being turned, that we're evolving into. And in this, as while that's happening, we need to like purge out. There's a lot of purging going on across the board. If it's not through acne and your waist, it's also, we're noticing our skin having weird things going through it, moving out, that kind of thing. Energetically, excuse me, energetically, I noticed these, it felt like staticky electricity kind of feeling moving through out through the back of the head. This was happening pretty regularly for a little while. It was a very brief and fleeting experience. Before I was having that, I noticed the pressure part of it. And as soon as I gave permission and kind of guided it out, then I suddenly had a solution. So like I started feeling better, and it would be shorter periods before it was finally done. We need to let it go. We need to release it. Metaphysical Mike, thank you for the donation. 555. I love synchronicities. Metaphysical Mike says, hi, am I going crazy? I've been dealing with deep-rooted control issues that make no sense based on my life and experience. I was never like this before. Well, this actually makes a lot of sense. So no, you're not going crazy. Thank you for saying something, and thank you for your generous donation. I really appreciate it. Um, we have a lot of things that have been kind of like operating systems running in the background. Maybe not even operating systems, but programs running in the background of your computer that have kind of just lingered and kind of almost um, colored everything that we interact with in that way with that thing for a time. Not even realizing it for years and years and years and lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes in most cases. And so as these things are, once we become ready to heal through something, then it goes, hey, look at me. I'm here. Ready to heal me? And so it's actually a really a nod to you, like a good job. Congratulations. You've healed enough that now you're able to heal this thing when such things come up. Um, I'm noticing a lot of this same kind of thing too. For me, it's also kind of like control issues. It's got to do with um the unknown being right at our doorstep, though we know most of what's going to happen, there's elements that are still left for surprise, and it's difficult for us to be in that energy. So, for you to heal through it as it comes up, and honestly, most of the time when these kinds of issues rise up, it's due to the need for forgiveness of self, to forgive yourself. And as they come up, instead of correcting self, overly correcting self, simply saying, I forgive you, Mike. I forgive you. I forgive myself. Like, say your name. That helps a lot. I forgive you. And I love you as these things come in. Um, they don't have to be perfect overnight. We just notice over a time that they start to heal. As we look at them, that's the biggest thing. Okay. So most of us have been conditioned for many lifetimes, not simply this one, that when something is unsavory or undesirable that comes up, we will then ignore it. It's not there. Edit it off. Bye. Gone. Kind of thing, but it's still there. When we do that, what we're doing is we're actually imprisoning that energy. When we're denying it, we're keeping it there. It's the opposite of what we want to do. And so to look at it, to acknowledge it and say, you exist, you're real, you really happened, and I release you. I release you with love. What Archangel Michael, the words he actually used in that channeling that he gave this guidance was that to release without judgment and with love. So acknowledge without judgment and release actually is the right word. That was the quote. And when we acknowledge it, we often will then go, okay, well, what is it, good or bad? Does it belong to me? How does it belong to me? Maybe I should accept it as part of my identity, give myself a new box, um, instead of just simply saying you are, and then to release it. So that's the guidance I have for you. You're not crazy, and it's happening to a lot of people. A lot of people are having also not just control issues, but noticing this like frustration, anger, irritability coming up, just feeling like it's out of the blue, and just like, where did that come from? Very similar to like a PMS, almost like kind of experience, male or female. We're all in our cycles and we're all having our stuff going on. So that's my suggestion to you, is to acknowledge it and to allow it to come up and release it. Like as you would a child. That's how I see these energies when they come up. I look at them, I witness them, and I accept them as a child. It could be the neighbor's kid that's really annoying, but they're still a child, and to give them the love that you would, before you send them home. Because I'm definitely not having that annoying kiddo hanging out inside my experience for very long. I can still be kind and loving to it. So I hope that helps you in some way. Thank you for your donation. I saw Trey V say that it was 333 and she had 22% battery. Helena says, I can relate to the drugged feeling and feeling throat pressure as well. I had pressure this afternoon. Yeah, that drugged sensation, that feeling as if you've been, it's weird. Okay, so the few times that I was awake and in my awareness and understanding what was happening when I had an ET exchange, what always happens is that they give me something. Something happens. I don't know if it's a chemical or if it's just like a neurological thing or something that they do. But when you first come back, when you're first waking up, you feel like you're just coming out of anesthesia, except it's not. Like the difference between, I've had both, and it feels kind of like that really subtle, almost like anesthesia, coming out of anesthesia, but just I as if we're meant to sleep. There's the other part of it, though, is that it has this euphoric element to it. It feels very good. Like it's relief and it's joy and it's allowing myself to embrace that and to be in those moments is really helpful too. So, yeah, I really relate to that. Patriot Hero, OMG, the girl I'm talking to doesn't like to text. Wow. To me, that is a sign. Hell, there you go. Patriot Hero. Yeah, it's a thing. I'm there too. I people email me and text me and message me and also often they become offended. Like I'm ignoring them intentionally, specifically them. I just don't want to. Like I don't want to. I'll look and I'll mean to. It's just um yeah, I'm just not there. We're connecting telepathically so much these days. We're psychically connected and sharing energy back and forth. I already know what someone's going to say to me before they bring it in, so I'll send back that energy. Um, Not everyone senses it and picks up what I'm feeling, and so I realize that there's a learning curve there that I need to be patient for. But in the meantime, it takes a strange amount of energy and effort to text back right now. It's a thing. It used to be people could text me, and that was where the way you knew you can get a response. Because 'cause I've never enjoyed talking on the phone, ever. Not even when I was in high school, and that was what girls were supposed to wanna do. Like, I just didn't resonate with me. Red herring media, I'm the same. I can't imagine being in a relationship now. It's too much of a chasm to cross. Yeah, chasm. I I'm there too. Like, it's not like I have anything against any gender or any of that. It's just not my cup of tea at the moment. I know that a lot of us are transitioning, and while we transition relationship wise, transition to this new template, that a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people in my generation are not everybody, but enough are going to kind of just choose to refrain because of the ways that it's changing into. It's a lot more fluid. Feel like it's going to become so much more fluid that it might be difficult to tell who's with who, kind of a thing. And it's some of us were raised in a way that it's something we can move through and unlearn. And some of us are just going to be happy alone, So we'll see how that turns out. Um, I feel like still we're all going to meet up with and interact with our soulmates. And then whether or not that becomes romantic doesn't affect negatively or positively the relationship that was that's being presented. So that's kind of cool. We'll see how that works out or what that looks like. Red herring media. Sometimes we just need to loosen our perceptual grip on life, relax into a natural benignness of flow. I like that. That was beautiful wording. Thank you. I agree. We're in a really great time. There's some really cool stuff happening right now, and it's a moment to be celebrated. We're feeling the celebration from all of the higher realms, all the energies that are just barely out of grasp. Everyone's celebrating. We do live in an echo chamber, so we kind of get it and after it's echoed a couple of times. So for our version, it's already here too. So that's really cool and allowing yourself to be in that celebration and also a guidance that's been coming through very strongly is that for now as well as in the coming weeks, um, when you are called to, try to follow the calling of going in and going within, you know, not going to large festivals at the moment as much as you might want to, or giving yourself permission to let yourself stay home and meditate instead. Um, or not even just being at home. You can go into nature or whatever. It feels like I've not had this reminder so frequently lately than I have lately. So just keeping that in mind moving forward. You know, a lot of us feel like we have to go out and be in large groups to make things happen, and when we're actually transmuting the energy right before us. So we're in a beautiful time, a time where it's things that couldn't have been done before are possible. And now it's just figuring out how to ride that bike, and right now a lot of people where they're at is the phase of learning how to do it without training wheels. Knowing that you're not alone and that you're okay is probably the best way to get through these moments. Sarah K, busy day today. I'm so happy. So really happy to catch you. Happy Mother's Day, Angel Mama. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day to you, Sarah. It's good to see you, sweetie. Adrebla, I think I said that correctly. If I didn't, I apologize. Hello, everyone. Thanks, Pamela, for doing these. So nice to be here. I'm having and have had for a while major teeth and gum issues. Okay, yep, there you go again. This mouth area, the throat and mouth, a lot of people are having so much going on with this area of their body. This throat activation is many lifetimes coming. Like the throat activation part of the throat, the activation of the throat specifically in the throat chakra has been kept in away from activating and for being used for a long time. And so the activation that we're having is kind of profound or pronounced. What I noticed was my teeth, they started to separate. I never had any gaps between my teeth before. And all of a sudden now they do. When that happened, it damaged some of the teeth behind them, which was really unfortunate. Um, I've heard about a lot of other people all of a sudden, like all at the same time, for a bit there too. It just suddenly everyone seemed to be having dental or oral trauma, like they were like falling or something bad was happening all around this area. And this is an activation that is for us to speak our truth, to be our true, authentic self. This activation of the throat chakra is why I do these Zoom meetings, is for people to have the chance to speak, if they choose to. Often allowing yourself to hear others in a place where that's available does help, though really allowing yourself to start to speak, what happens is you may understand and maybe suspect something right here, just a small little thing that maybe you haven't really addressed before. And as soon as it starts to be spoken, then it unfurls, then it unravels into something big. And it's like, I did not realize that. I didn't know that I knew that until I knew that, kind of a thing. And it's just a beautiful thing. So if anyone is interested, we meet every Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I think that's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I post it every Thursday in my community section of this YouTube channel, so you can grab the link from there because it is a new link every week to refresh and renew the energy that's being used at that time. So something that might helps a lot of people. So I do need to get going in a moment, so let me try to catch up on some of these comments. I love that you're all here, and thank you all for coming. Such a beautiful gathering of love. Let's see. We have Treby. Yes, I am really intolerant of small talk lately. Yeah, me too. Oh my goodness. Yes. It's like I forgot how to communicate in 3D and I don't know how to answer small talk questions. I know. I know. I can do weather. Weather I can talk about because that actually has a lot of pertinence in what's occurring globally right now, is that the shifts of the poles has been fun to observe and to kind of get reports back. Like, for instance, where I live, we didn't have an autumn and now we didn't have a spring. Just straight into the next season. So that's been kind of interesting. But other than that, I totally can't do it. I can't do it. Deb says, thumbs up. Love these talks. Thanks for thanks for liking this video. I appreciate it. I really do. It's crazy. It's really annoying that liking videos is something that really does affect the algorithm. Commenting and liking a video makes it so more people have access to the video, and then you're able to make more videos. It's a way that YouTube is functioning at the time that I hope that it will change at some point, because I don't like to be that person saying, "Thanks for liking and subscribing," and all that kind of thing. It does really help. So thank you all for doing that. I really appreciate it. I'll answer one more question. I do need to get going. Metaphysical Mike says, "What does it mean if I had a dream where I was floating in light and felt this bliss and woke up feeling in another world?" That's a really good question. So you're in astral. Um, as from what that's how it is for me too. When we go in astral, we can be in a variety of different worlds and places. It's always more light. There's always more light there. There's more bliss. Um, Immediately there's less density. So all of a sudden you just gravity isn't the thing anymore. It's not heavy. You don't realize how heavy gravity is until it's gone. Um, and honestly, the level of euphoria that's experienced there is akin to I'm gonna say it. It's akin to an orgasm. Like, it feels just like it. Like, and you only it's a stabilized version of that sensation, and very quickly it's like the novelty wears off, and it's just kind of what it's like to be you. So, um, it's really a fun place to experience. Um, I am excited for you, Metaphysical Mike. I hope that you explore that further. That's a beautiful place. Um, we have the ability to access a variety of different places like that from the identity of who you are. It's just simply that we've been encouraged against it by being taught that we don't have that kind of a power. We don't have access to such things when we really do. When we first started to experiment with it, that was back in the 80s. They called it out of body experiences. And because there was so limited information that I wasn't conditioned to think it had to be one way or another. And so I'm very gifted in that. That was a gift. For those of you who are experimenting with that, I would suggest the same thing. The more information that we put in, the more overwhelming it can seem. Just allow what's naturally happening to you to occur. Go with the flow. You can use your spiritual discernment, that part of you that knows if someone's you're the world's best lie detectors, and so you can tell if something's BS or not. If it's true, if it's correct, if it's of an energy that is good, by all means, play with it, experiment with it. It doesn't have to be reverent and sacred to be something beautiful. Not all things in spirit are meant to be that. Most of them are inappropriate. Archangel Michael is like a pull my finger kind of person in my experience. Everybody has a different experience. And just, like unreverent and funny and play is really common in these higher realms. And so knowing that you won't offend anyone, to be able to be in the experience that you're in. Though if it feels correct for you to be in that sacred place, then please do so. There is a use for both. So I'm excited for you. I hope that you explore that further. I love you all so very much. And thank you all for being here, even though I started later today, an hour later than normal. Happy Mother's Day. This has been such a fun gathering. And we will meet again next Sunday, as well as we have our Friday Zoom group meeting that I'll post about in the community section of this YouTube channel on Thursday for you to have that link. Stephanie says, thank you for this time together. Thank you. Thank you all. I love you all, and I'll talk to you soon. Aho blessings.